What is going on, everyone? It's Ricky with Tech Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. We got our boy Weston and Ish. They're all here. If you guys have ever followed them on Instagram and stuff like that, or actually followed Weston on YouTube. So before we get started for our Sunday Stock Talk, first of all, thank you guys again for taking time out of your busy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful and hardworking mothers out there. I would... Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Damn.
I was going to go into it. I was just like, yeah, like, we don't appreciate them that much. It's just like, they probably don't want to hear my input on it. So, what are you going to be implementing, hopefully, this week, Weston?
So I'm going to start swing trading consistently from here on out. Instead of, I'm not going to, well, I can't. I'm only going to start with $1,000. So
Yeah.
start with $1,000 in swing trading.
So one of the things that Weston was doing is that he was doing paper trading and simulation trading for about 2 weeks. And the people that were part of Learn, Plan, Profit and Technical Solutions that were following up with his videos found it very informative seeing someone that was just getting started that pretty much shadows me, being able to try to, day trade, rapid and stuff like that. So one of the things that we wanted to implement is obviously Weston's kind of like responsibility and his core focus is working with the Flipping Wheels group and also making sure that he finds the best car deals in the area. So now one of the things that he's going to accommodate, just like those that are students and full-time workers, is that he has a series of responsibilities that he's going to have to continue to do. So he's going to approach it in a swing trading manner, meaning that he doesn't have to day trade every single day, which makes it that much easier for him to just, be a little bit more selective with what I think and what you choose to take a position on, and kind of just providing quick little updates on maybe like your entries, where you plan to exit, your stop loss, and then why you see value in it, which I think a lot of people that are just getting started, maybe don't have that much time to day trade, can have an alternative of, how to get started. So again, that's going to be on Weston's channel. If you guys don't, if you guys aren't subscribed to Weston, then you probably
do it.
You probably don't want to either. But you guys can search him up. His name is Weston Moore. He's actually one of the featured channels on my YouTube channel. So I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. I'm going to start sharing the screen, and I'm going to be breaking down a majority of the stocks that you guys post in the ticker call-out format, and then I'm going to get Weston's input as well. So I'm going to be sharing this just a little bit on the side. Let's go ahead and get started. So I was following up with natural gas /NG. Closed right around 2.62. So right now it is down based off of where it closed at on Friday. It sold off to about 2.61, but again, none of this actually matters because it doesn't matter actually until the market opens. So that's one of the things that I'm really excited to kind of look, that I look forward to is on Mondays. I'll probably set my alarm for around 3:50 a.m. Market opens here at 4 a.m. or pre-market hours for me during extended hours opens for me at 4 a.m. So I can kind of do a quick analysis on natural gas and see kind of which side it's going to be going. So let's go ahead and start these breakdowns. I really hope that I earn your thumbs up in this video. And I also do want to remind you that for those that want to be a part of the Learn Plan Profit group, I know you guys were always looking for a discount. We have a $50 off coupon. If you don't see it, feel free to refresh your page. But it's going to be that first link in the description. It says $50 off, and that's for the Learn Plan Profit course. That gives you lifetime access to being able to watch me trade live, and also lifetime access to the Learn Plan Profit course and all the updates. So here we go. There we go. Ticker symbol GUSH. Alrighty. Here we go. Yeah, and please do me the biggest format. So if you just post like Caleb just posted the ticker symbol, or people are just posting the ticker symbol of the stock, I'm not going to break any of those down. They have to be in the ticker call-out format, just like Ishmael is sharing with you. If you can't do that, Ishmael, don't even bother removing it. I'm just not going to break it down for you. We're not even going to look at it. Again, I'm not here to trade for you. I'm not here to tell you what to trade. I'm here to break down what you've already, done your own due diligence on. So that's the whole thing that we're doing here. We're just, giving you our 2 cents and making sure that you've done your own due diligence before asking for a second-hand kind of opinion and stuff like that. So again, perfect example of what not to do. Thank you again. INTC. Yeah, I won't break that down for you. So here we go. We're getting a lot of consolidation on ticker symbol GUSH. One of the things that I do want to point out is that, yes, it does look like it can be at somewhat of a support, and it looks like it's consolidating. We've talked about this before. 3 stages of a reversal, right? The rejection, consolidation, and then confirmation when it begins to make higher highs. Right now, I would say based off previous patterns, we could say that, hey, it makes sense on why it can bounce around this $9 price point. And then once it begins to make higher highs, then great. It makes sense again, if you want to grow your account, to trade patterns that are showing signs of growth. Looking at forward/CL, this is showing a very similar pattern as well, where it sold off. It was showing signs of an uptrend. It sold off. It's consolidating. But as of right now, it's not indicating or showing any signs of an uptrend. So why would you be so empowered? And I'm not saying Gush is, or forward/CL is the exact correlating feature, but it's one that I use that I don't like looking at indexes or like the SPIOC or whatever it's called. I personally can care less about that index. One thing that I like to focus on is the future, which it does have an effect on the overall with like the crude oil future, just a very small correlation. But one of the things that I want to kind of point out is that there's no indication of an uptrend. So I do appreciate the call out in the sense that it is viewed as a good deal. But what's one of the most important things that you think that we should kind of like wait out for? So we saw that it was getting rejected. Now it's in that good deal range. It's consolidating. What's the last thing that we simply need to wait for? It doesn't mean that we have to go all in, right? So if you have $1,000 like Weston does that he's going to be trading it with, right?
Yep.
Does that mean you go in with $1,000 as soon as it confirms an uptrend? No, if you want to feel comfortable as it confirms an uptrend, so you can slowly begin to average up. When does that make sense? When you have confirmation, when it's making higher highs. You guys all understand what we should do, but how many of you guys still sometimes, and again, I've made this mistake before as well, how many of you understand what it is that you need to do, but because of patience and because of discipline, sometimes you get in sooner than you do, right? And it's just something that you have to be like self-aware of. So as of right now, Gush, I like the opportunity that it has to offer. It's just now it would make FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. Just be a little bit more patient, right? So if you're not growing your account, or you're growing your account at a very slow rate, and it's because you think that you get in too early, it sells off, and then it begins to reverse. Just imagine if you would have been a little bit more patient. So maybe that's something that we can implement on a closer basis. So. All right, that's inappropriate. There we go.
Right.
Huh?
We both clicked at the same time.
Here we go. Ticker symbol DE. What do we think about this one? So it looks like at previous resistance, it has a new support around this general area, and then a new resistance around this general area. So right around 165. So general support area, general resistance area. As an up-and-coming earnings report, what's going on? Is it Ash? How do you pronounce that? Greetings from Sydney. Well, hello. I'm sorry, your name's a little difficult for me to pronounce. I apologize. Here we go. I'm going to set my series of alerts. So I'm trying to identify this pattern, right? One of the things that I can see here is that the SMA line was acting as a support. It was indicating and showing signs of an uptrend. The SMA line is now almost flatlining and no longer pointing up. In a sense, it's kind of almost starting and beginning to consolidate. So this is normally what we see before it begins to show and indicate signs of a downtrend. So I would be, pretty selective. It's not making higher highs anymore. It's kind of offering a horizontal pattern. So I would just set my alerts once it begins, and if it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, then that's when it would make sense to try to take advantage of this, margin of profit. Again, the margin of profit isn't huge. There's no reason to try to get in any sooner than you should. So as of right now, it's still selling off. It's still getting rejected by the EMA line. Yes, it's trying to consolidate, but it has not confirmed anything. So again, that's why I think confirmation is so important. And what are different series of factors, news, or any forms of catalyst that can drive the price up or down? Well, as an up-and-coming earnings report, and based off previous earnings, you can see how the price can be dropped or the price can shoot up. So again, just understand that as well. Here we go. LCI. All right, so this one's kind of all over the place. I personally don't like trading things like this. So the volatility is pretty crazy on this one. It was indicating signs of an uptrend. It then began, do you see this? It began making lower lows and lower highs. It did push up recently. It looks like it was due to earnings, but it's sold off ever since, and it looks like it's returning back to its previous pattern of it making lower lows and lower highs. So because of that, as of right now, it's a descending pattern, so the overall direction is against you. It doesn't mean that you can't make any money. It just makes it that much more difficult for you to identify your entry point. And again, when you want to sell for a profit, you want to make sure that you try to get in for a good entry, but it's hard to identify that. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. It's just a little bit more difficult as something is selling off, as there's a different factor that's playing against you. So that's my 2 cents on that one. So TechPut Solutions Group is free. Yep. What happened?
Someone just asked, is TechPut free?
Yeah, TechPut's, we're the largest free platform on Facebook. We have over 205,000, almost 206,000 members all across the world. So that's that second link in the description, if I'm not mistaken. So you can feel free to join if you just want to simply surround yourself with more like-minded individuals. But if you wanted more assistance from me, that's the only group that I work with is the Learn Plan Profit group. They get to watch me day trade live every morning. If you're part of Tech Club Solutions, you should have received a message from me asking if you wanted to see like a live trading recap or something like that. If you didn't, just feel free to direct message me on Discord and I'll send you the link just so you can kind of get a taste of what it's like to watch me trade live. So I'll send you the live trading session from Friday or something like that. So recommended studies on TOS. I have a video on YouTube that you can check out. So can you explain what you do, but in simple terms? I mean, I day trade.
Done.
I would encourage you if it sounds like you're new to the channel. So first of all, I appreciate. I think I also did see your previous message very very quickly. It said that you're 17 years old. I would first watch a couple of my videos, like the My Story video, learn a little bit more about like what I do, like, and see if it's something that you find informative or if you see value in my style. If you do, great. Again, we have the free alternative of our Facebook group and a bunch of videos. And if you think that you would like to work with me on a closer basis, then again, we have the option for LPP. But just take time and be patient. There's no reason to try to jump into it right away. But number one thing on how to get started is I would encourage you to simulate, what is it called? Yeah, paper trade. NRG. Here we go. All right, you're going to help me on this one, Wes. Ready?
Whoa, buddy.
All right, NRG, energy. So it was showing signs of an uptrend, right? It began to make higher highs and higher lows. This is a perfect example of what a break of pattern looks like.
Yeah.
So it was showing signs of an uptrend. The overall SMA line was indicating signs of a support. So this is the general area. So what I mean by that, what does support mean? This SMA line, this green line, usually determined a price point of where when it would begin to sell off, where the stock itself would normally bounce at. It doesn't mean that it was exact. It doesn't mean that it would always touch the EMA line or that would go a little bit above or a little bit below, but it's around this general price range that it would normally bounce at. So you can normally, or based off previous patterns, identify that around the SMA line after confirmation would be viewed as a good deal. Once it becomes a little bit overextended, again, looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, the series of different indicators that we use, we have videos on that within the Learn Plan Profit lesson library, so you can review them. We'll determine when something is a little bit more on the overbought side. Once it broke below the SMA line, the SMA line no longer began or continued to show signs of an uptrend. It began to sell off, and this EMA line, which is this blue line right here, which is the exponential moving average, began to act as a resistance. And what do we mean by that? It continued to make lower lows, and every time that it tried to push up, it got rejected, right? So what's one of the things, so, if we're deal hunters, right? And we see that NRG right now is selling off. People might be saying like, look, it's approaching this $36 support, right? It's viewed as a good deal. It's sold off very aggressively. First of all, I would try to identify what caused this aggressive sell-off. This would have to be something beyond just technicals. It was showing sign of an uptrend, so it would be some form of reason, either it's earnings or some form of fundamental news, something that was released that drove the price down, that caused this sell-off. So first identify that and ask yourself if it's something that you think that is detrimental to the company, something that will make it continue to sell off. If so, then probably it's not something that you want to partake in, right? But what's one of the things on our side, right, on the technical standpoint, that we can wait for? So if you were to, potentially want to take advantage of this as a swing trade, what are, if you were to go down maybe 2 or 3 criteria that this stock has to meet before you take a position for a swing trade, meaning that you hold it overnight, what would it be?
Confirmation of an uptrend.
So what does that mean? Confirmation of an uptrend.
I mean, I don't know how to break it down correctly, but...
So what is it doing right now that is not attractive?
The sell-off that's a big sell-off. I don't feel comfortable.
Correct. I mean, it's like for you, right?
Yeah.
Weston invests in cars, right? So Weston, buys cars and then he, either fixes them up or just sells them for a profit. So after a couple of days or a couple of months of enjoying them. So let's put into perspective in that aspect, right? So if you buy a Toyota Camry, right? You buy a Toyota Camry, you think that you got it for a good deal, and then it begins to sell off. As in, you think that you bought it for $3,000. All of a sudden, it needs a new motor, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it needs a new transmission. All of a sudden, it needs a new paint job. Or, it needs new tires. The tires pop. There's all these different kind of like factors, right, that are being brought to the table that is like just costing more money. So there's no indication of this thing increasing in value.
Yeah.
So if you were to see, it's a little bit different when it comes down to investing in cars, but if you were to see that Ishmael is trying to sell you that Camry, so you don't own it, for $3,000, and you see that, wow, it needs a new transmission, wow, it needs a new motor, wow, it needs a new paint job. There's all these different costs of something, of like all these different factors that are driving the price down, the value down, right? Same thing with this. Would you want to invest in that Camry when there's all these different things that are going wrong with it? No, but it's much easier to see that on a tangible, item. When it comes down to a stock, if something is continuously selling off, regardless of how much of a good deal you think it is, at the end of the day,
it's still selling off.
It's still selling off. And if your intention, just ask yourself, super simple mindset. If your intention is to make money in the market, doesn't it make sense, right? To only take part of patterns that are showing signs of growth, that are actually increasing in value. What about penny stocks? What about OTC stocks? Yeah, there's so many different factors and niches within the market that you can make a quick buck. But higher the risk, the higher the reward, right? When it comes down to getting started, let's just get the ball rolling. I don't want you to discourage yourself with, either aggressive momentum trading, with, penny stocks, with OTC stocks, or anything like that can be extremely risky. And this is something that you can ask yourself. If you feel like you're ready for it, all power to you. I'm not here to limit you to what I think is safer. But if you want to grow and actually grow your account, then it makes sense to invest in patterns that are showing signs of growth. So as of right now, I would say that NRG is in the, it's selling off. It's trying to consolidate. It's trying to find a support. We don't know if this thing's going to go down to $30. We don't know if this thing's going to go down to $20. We don't know if this thing's going to go tomorrow up to $50. All we know right now, all we have to go off of is that it's been selling off, and there's no indication of an uptrend. The direction has not changed. So what can we do? We can set alerts and simply follow up with it if you see value in it. What are different things that you could see value in? Well, based off previous patterns, it was something that was consistently showing signs of an uptrend. So maybe this is just a bad period for it. So maybe we can wait for that confirmation, and as it begins to, reverse and come back to its, previous price of, let's say, even $42, that offers a 10.5% return after it breaks above the EMA line. Not at the current price point of where it's at right now, right? But after it breaks above the EMA line, it offers a 10% return, almost 11% at around $42 from after it breaks above $38. So that means that you can give it time, and that's at $38. You can wait till 40 and you can lock in profits at 41. The biggest thing that I would focus on if I'm someone that's just getting started, especially like when it comes down to you swing trading, right? Like, what is something that you said in every single video right after you locked in profits, like 5 minutes after you're in? You're not doing it for the money. Because you're just getting started and you understand that. The amount of money. So last week I day traded with $100,000, and I agree that is a ton of money. But I would never have gotten to the point of day trading with $100,000 if I would have consistently been so obsessed about trying to make the most money every single time I take a position when I just got started. I'm not going to lie, when I first did get started, I did trade penny stocks, and I did not do very well. But over time, I understood. And even there's periods where I did day trade penny stocks, and I did just fine. But ultimately, I knew that if I wanted to continuously grow my account in one point, be trading with $100,000, $1 million, $10 million, I need to make sure that my best practices, my habits, and my discipline are, again, aligning towards my overall goal of being able to get to that point to be trading with $100K, $1 million, or $10 million. But the only way that I'm going to get there is if I don't discourage myself. So what's one of the things that we can simply do is be disciplined, make sure that we understand what we're doing, making sure that we have a plan, and making sure that we wait for that overall confirmation. So again, that's how we set our alerts here, but just as much as it could go up, it could go down. So I'm going to set my alert for the break below $36 and simply follow up with that. So I like the MACD, I like the RSI, I like the call out. I just think that it needs a little bit more time, definitely more time for it to reverse that overall direction. So let's go ahead and let's see, terms and conditions. What is going on? Here we go. All right, what's going on, Evan? UNG. All right, what do you think about this one? So UNG.
Descending pattern for sure.
Descending pattern, 180-day chart, so it continues to make lower lows and lower highs. Can you make money off of this?
You can.
Yeah.
You can, but...
Just like you can make money off of any cars, right? You can make money off salvage title cars.
Yeah.
You can make money off of a car that doesn't even run.
It just makes the
process.
What am I trying to say?
Slim chances of doing it.
Yeah, it's just a lot harder. Like
the risk is that much greater. Yeah,
reducing your chance.
Yeah, because less people are going to be probably attracted to that car, right?
Exactly.
Probably less people because they see that the overall descending pattern is not something that a lot of people are going to find very attractive. Not everyone's going to want to dump, $100,000 into that.
Yeah.
Right? So those trading with $1,000 to try to maximize profits because they want to go in for the high risk, high reward, then great if that's the approach that you want to take, but you need to make sure that you understand the overall direction. One of the things that I also want to point out is that this SMA line, which is this green line right here, is what normally, based off of the past, 5 months, has been acting as a resistance. So as it tries to push up, it gets rejected by this SMA line, the green line. As it pushes up, and after it sells off, consolidates and pushes up, gets rejected around this general area of the SMA line. Sells off, pushes back up, and guess what? It normally gets rejected around this SMA line. It doesn't mean that it can't continue to push up. It just means that, it was at a lower price point. Now it's become a little bit more overbought, overextended. Look at the RSI, look at the MACD, and just look at previous patterns and ask yourself, does it make sense that this is a good deal? If you can justify it, then great. Set up a plan and go for it. But if you can see based off previous patterns and the margin of profit and how much it's been selling off and the margin of profit that it has left is not worth it, then guess what? Simply set your alerts, and if you want to follow up with it, maybe when it's a better deal, great. But just make sure that your preparation sets you up for success. So I would pass on this one as of right now. I wouldn't even set my alert just because it would not be something that I would be too interested in it as of right now. And yes, this is the natural gas fund. I understand that, but I'll leave it at that. So here we go. So ticker symbol, what's going on, Sab? CCO. Here we go. Became overbought, overextended, sold off, and then the SMA line has been acting as a resistance. Sold off once again. Is beginning to push up. Look at that MACD. Looks overextended. The RSI doesn't even look like such a good deal. Yes, it can continue to push up. So the margin would be from where it's at right now to around the SMA line, which is about 6.26%. I could see that there's a recent large amount of volume that picked up the demand back up. And that's, I think, what caused it to become so overbought and overextended with this MACD indicator. So looking at previous MACD indicators and how, they've been pretty valid when it's been selling off, I would just be a little bit iffy on this one being a little bit too overextended as of right now. What's going on, Juan? Thank you again for tuning in. What's up? Here we go. IFRX. What's going on, Nicholas? IFRX. Here we go. What do you think about this one?
Wouldn't you say there's almost becoming a pattern, like uptrending pattern?
Where would you see that?
Right. I mean, it's not really. There's only two, so.
So we're.
Oh.
You're good. We're seeing some form of consistency right here, right?
Yeah.
Around this general area, it's kind of just flatlining, then it sold off, and then it pushed up, and then kind of just consolidated around the SMA line, maybe validating it as a support, and then it just began to uptrend. So I would try to first find out maybe what caused this push up. Became overbought, became overextended. Look at the RSI, look at the MACD, right. And then a sell-off happened. Around the SMA line, it found a support, it broke above the EMA line, indicating signs of an uptrend, and then guess what? Around this general area, it did make higher highs, but again, became overbought, overextended. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI. This could be viewed as a valid indicator. Now sold off. Now looking at this MACD, now looking at this RSI, it makes sense that now it could potentially bounce around this general area. Right. What do we need to wait for?
Confirmation.
I like that. So I'll simply add this to my watch list, and the overall margin of profit isn't bad. It's about 16%. So
what's that one?
IFRX. So we'll add it to the list, and then I'll share it with you in the long-term profit group. Yeah. Here we go. So ticker symbol MYL. What is going on, MPC? What was that? It was MYL. Here we go. What do you think about this one, Wes?
It's not for me.
Why?
It's consistently downtrending, and then I guess what the earnings is sold off really aggressive.
Yeah. So there's a negative catalyst, right, that drove the price down. Looks like based off previous earnings, but the one before that definitely did push the price up. One of the things that I've noticed, and again, this is just me, do you see this pattern? And again, this might not have much to do with it, but I've noticed it a lot with like Tesla and AMD and a lot of like very volatile, well-known companies, is that this is a descending pattern. Very easy to see that, right?
Yes.
But it depends on where the earnings falls that, as MYL was selling off and it was reaching a bottom, that's when the earnings happened, and then that's what drove the price up. And some things that I've noticed is that if it's already so overbought and the earnings does happen, because it's so overbought, regardless if it hit its expectation, if its guidance is a little bit off, it drives the price down, especially with a descending pattern. So you can see that it was uptrending and it was becoming a little bit more overbought based off of previous patterns and the rate that it was descending. The earnings comes out and then it sells off. So that's just something that I've picked up on. It doesn't mean that, again, 100% happens all the time. Right. But I just know when right before earnings, if something's overbought, even if it's like a good company, even if it hits its earnings, because it's so overbought, if its guidance or expectation is just a little bit off, then that's what can cause a sell-off as well, because the price point was so overbought based off of its previous earnings that it didn't, it was already
so it just quickly goes back to where it should be.
It's like correct itself.
Yeah,
right?
It corrects it. But it's like, it makes it look, if you stare at it, it looks scary, but it's just kind of...
So I think this one would, for those that like trading descending patterns, which again, there's a huge form of risk trading that, then, great. This might be something that you might want to pay attention to, set your alerts, but just understand that there is another layer of risk added to the formula when something is selling off. So, but yeah, thank you again for that breakdown. So while being Tran, what's going on? FLDM, here we go. What do you think about this one?
It's uptrending. But
it was uptrending, right? Yeah. So
it's kind of a.
It was pushing up. It was showing signs of an uptrend. The SMA line has been acting as a support, but one of the things that I've noticed is that based at least for the past 2 months or a month and a half, it has not really been making higher highs anymore. Right. Hit its peak at around $15, began to consolidate, began to kind of make like lower highs, and then aggressively sold off after its earnings, and it did not actually hit its expectation. So I would look a little bit more into the company, see kind of what's going on, and to see if it has the backbone to even try to recover. Because it's selling off, right, and it continues to make lower lows and lower highs, it makes it that much more difficult for us to identify a proper entry point and a proper exit point, which is the hardest part when it comes down to trading, because especially with a descending pattern, you don't want to get in when you think that it's right about to continue uptrend, and then it ends up just getting rejected by the EMA line, and then it just continues to downtrend. So again, maybe the overall direction is beginning to change, and this is probably what we saw with that other stock that we first broke down, that it's, it was showing signs of an uptrend, but it might just or it might start to continue to offer a downtrend or change its overall direction. Here we go. SYMC. So this is where it's trading at right now. So it bounced and sold off to around $18. Mm-hmm. It's pushed up to about $19.39. So it's recovered quite a bit. Looks like it's earnings, right? So it became overbought, sold off based off previous patterns. It makes sense on why it bounced around this general area. Right? This would be, the volatility is pretty crazy, right? With how much it sold off. So from $18 recovering back to let's say even just 23, which is right around the SMA line, that's 27.2%.
Yeah, and it's at its lowest low in 180 days, right?
Yeah, to an extent, right? The past 180 days.
It was.
Yeah. Well, 1743 was. It got pretty close.
That's an aggressive sell-off.
Yeah. So the volatility might be there. So again, the high risk, high reward. This could be something that maybe with a smaller position size, just to try to see kind of where it's at. The MACD looks good. The RSI looks decent. Maybe waiting for this thing to break above the EMA line, right? What did it do last time that indicated signs of a reversal? It consolidated and then began to make higher highs, right? Or this one just picked up right away and then it validated the EMA line. Looks like both times it reacted very nicely to the EMA line. So maybe that might be something that we might want to wait out for, even if we have to wait till it breaks above 20 or maybe $21. Being completely honest, from
I do that every time.
From $21 to about 23, it still offers nearly a 10% margin of profit. So not too bad, right? So we'll definitely add that. Do you think that this is something that you would want to check out?
Possibly, yeah. I don't like when they push up that quick.
The volatility can make it a little bit scary, right? Yeah.
I like that. See how it like that one.
Yeah.
It didn't push up instantly.
This one pushed up much quicker, right?
Yeah, when they.
Do you see why? Do you see why it pushed up? It was selling off, became silver sold off, and then its earnings came out, and then that's what acted as a catalyst that drove the price up. So it's also good to understand kind of where it's at. So it looks like previous earnings, right? It was kind of in between, right? In between what where it was at this time and where it was at last time, and it still pushed up, became overbought, and then kind of corrected itself. Now it was so overbought, became overextended. Earnings came out, sold off, kind of corrected itself, and now it's back at it. Okay. Alrighty. So here we go. Let's go ahead. So I already did a breakdown for you, MPC. Let me go ahead and try to add do a breakdown for Gabriel. So MAXR. MAXR. Here we go.
Ooh, buddy.
What do you think?
Dirty scare.
Not a fan.
Huh?
I'm not a
A
fan.
little dirty scare.
Yeah. So a very consistent downward pattern. It doesn't mean that you can't make money off of this. Obviously, it just means that the risk is a little bit greater, and the overall direction is not in your favor. So. If you think that it's showing something that's indicating signs of an overall, it's earning, so there's a little bit more volume and demand. It's just there's a lot of different factors that are probably going against you. So if you're someone that's just getting started or struggling to consistently stay green, again, this is a high risk, high reward type of play, and it's just not something that I personally feel would comfortable trading, nor would encourage anybody that's just getting started. So what's going on, Caleb? I appreciate your call out. Ticker symbol AMD. Let's go ahead and break this down. So what do you think about this one? So remember this one?
Yep, starting to uptrend, or it has been since 100 days.
Yeah, look, this one began to sell off when the overall market was selling off, right? So it made sense. Okay. So this thing sold off, found a support, corrected itself, started to validate the SMA line as a general support. This one's one that I think is a very well-known company. It's a multi-billion-dollar company that's worked with Apple, but it's very volatile, right? Yeah. And you don't see normally Apple perform or Amazon perform like this. So this one's a little bit different. I would say this one's a little bit more like Tesla, just with a more consistent uptrend pattern. Okay. I would say that it is trying to validate the SMA line as a support. So what would you do with this? So is it indicating signs of an uptrend right now?
No, it's consolidating kind of, right?
So what would you be like? What would
I set an alert?
Yeah, or what would you do? Like looking at this, like what would you need this to do for you to feel comfortable taking, your first position on it?
It's definitely consolidating. I think it should push up a little bit more for me to be comfortable.
It'd have to push up a little bit more?
Yeah.
Now, if it pushes up a little bit more, I think confirmation is key, right? So we wanted to validate the SMA line. So we're kind of in a pickle, though.
Is that a resistance? Is that what the...
So, looking at previous patterns, look at where it's peaked out at before, right? Mm-hmm. And if we wait for this thing to begin to make higher highs, right around $28 to about $30, the margin of profit is 6%, 6.31% from perfect entry and perfect exit. Yeah. So, is this something that you want to swing trade? It can be.
It can be, yeah.
But you also have to understand that the reason I said it might be a pickle is because it's not even like it's a super good deal. It's just that we just hope that it confirms that uptrend and then hits its previous resistance, which it doesn't have to hit. So maybe a swing trade doesn't necessarily have to be something that we have to do with this one, but maybe a short-term day trade when we see that it's uptrending, trading between the middle and top VWAP. Yeah. Right? And the reason that I'm pointing that out is because it's not so much of a good deal and it's so close to its resistance that it might hit that and then start getting and changing its overall direction, and you want to get caught at the very top.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Alrighty. Here we go. What's going on, Matt Fuller? So we got ticker symbol ZNGA. All right, let's do two more after this. ZNGA. We've done about 10, right? Yeah. So looks like it showed again it was selling off when the market was selling off, began to indicate signs of an uptrend. What do you see going on right now?
It's continuously uptrending.
So the overall direction I would say is pretty favorable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would it be a super good deal right now?
I don't know if I would enter right now.
So the MACD looks good, right? The RSI looks good. So again, this is something where you kind of want to ask yourself, like, do you get in right now or do you wait for confirmation? And even after confirmation and it begins to push up, is the margin of profit even worth it?
Yeah, what's the percentage?
It's not bad. No, and that's not even at the highest point. It's around 6.5% if it goes back to its.
I like the fact that it's continuously has been.
So that would almost encourage you, right, to take the position. But it would almost be better if it's freaking Weston, dude. If it sells back off to the SMA line, right, and then it builds that nice little margin, and then it begins to uptrend because then the margin would be that much more attractive, right?
Right.
So that's something that I would kind of just like ask yourself: do you think that you would feel comfortable enough to get in right after it breaks above the EMA line with the margin not being super great, but it also not being the best deal? Right, you'd have to really believe in its direction and the company itself. So I think maybe going beyond just the technicals and looking a little bit more into the fundamentals would be something that can better assist you in determining, is this something that I want to be a part of or not.
Correct.
We got John Mason saying that Ricky doesn't know how to trade stocks. I feel like I did pretty good last week. I did over what was it? I did nearly $10,000 in
Just
Yeah.
fine.
Not bad. I feel
Someone
like
said
I feel like I'm doing just fine. But hey,
I've seen a lot worse.
to each their own, right? I think last week then we broke over $10,000
I wouldn't
profit.
care an extra 10K a week, you know?
Well,
Hey.
10K a week for the boys. What?
Hey, he said it for the boys.
There we go. Here we go. So let's go ahead and break down. So let's do PDEX. What's going on, Greg? PDEX. Yeah, I love how people like I don't know what I don't think he knows how to trade, right? But then they're still tuning in for the Sunday stock talk. It's like
I'm listening.
thank you for your time. One of the things that money can't buy is time. So just make sure that you use that effectively, right? Give it to those that you see value in, or spend it with those that see value in or care about, right?
I thought you had a little quote going.
Yeah, I almost did, and I was just like, I don't want to get too sentimental right now. Here we go. So what do you think about this one? So PDEX.
I mean, I guess it's up. It was uptrending, but it sold off really aggressive.
Yeah.
What's the percentage like? What? How much did
For
it
recovery, or how much did it sell off?
Yeah. Either way, I guess we.
About 25%.
In a day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not earnings either, is it? No.
Nope. It was probably some form of news. This happened on Friday.
Oh, I guess I would want to look at what the news was, right? I mean, that could definitely have an effect more than just.
Looks
one
like a
day.
filing. I would have to look a little bit more into it to see kind of like what drove the price down, but no, it wasn't even that. Yeah, I would definitely have to look a little bit more into it. And
Right. I mean, I feel
no
like
news
that,
I found. So Greg is saying that he hasn't found any news. I would look a little bit more just beyond what TD Ameritrade offers. Maybe look a little bit more into Google, or into the fundamentals of what drove the price down. Because it's just weird how something was so consistently pushing up, and then it was overbought. But for something to sell off so much, a 25% loss. Just think about the company. It lost 25% of its value. So yes, this could offer a potential dip buy opportunity. So I'll set my alerts on that. The RSI and obviously the MACD look good, but there's no indication of a reversal just yet. So I would look into that. We have all these people trying to ask for me to break down ACB, which I understand it's like Aurora, the cannabis company, right? But no one's putting it in the ticker call out format. So I guess we're not going to break it down. So here we go. Ticker symbol GES. Looks like it's been continuously selling off. It broke this general support area. Here we go. Yeah. So as right now, the MACD looks like it's trying to bounce back up, but I'll set my alert. I don't think that it can, just because it's been so consistently selling off. So I would kind of wait out on it. So there you go, Matthew. Thank you again for standing up for everybody. And again, we have people like being lazy, not putting in. Again, it's like, guys, if you're really gonna be this lazy with like, oh my God, he's asking me to do more work and make me do my own due diligence on something that I'm going to invest my hard-earned money in. It's like, really? Like, you guys, this is like the easiest part. It's setting up the plan, right? Like, you guys just need to make sure that if you guys want to get to a point where like you can have like a couple $100 days or a couple $1,000 days, or have that confidence in that experience, put in the effort. And it's so mind-boggling to me that people like question like, well, how can you even get to that point? Well, you definitely don't do it by being lazy. And again, I know my Sunday stock talks are relevant to those that are just getting started and stuff like that, but it's, I think, the very small things in life, and the small little best practices that you implement that can make a big difference. So I would say that one of the hardest parts in trading are the easiest things, the smallest things that people overlook. At least in my experience. So this is Aurora. This is actually one of the stocks that, Tanner Fox, when he came over, this is one of the stocks that he's been like kind of messing with. And I talked to him when it had an aggressive sell-off, and then he made like 10 or 14%. I'm not too sure when that was, but it peaked out, sold off, found a support, and then it began to indicate signs of an uptrend after it broke above $8, and then went back to $10, and then he locked in profits. Just based off previous size, I think it was right around like $8.50 to $9 that he sold. So now the overall SMA line that acted as a previous support, you could see that it really began to consolidate and find a support here, and then it began to sell off. So, not the best. Looking at previous earnings, there's not a lot of movement, right? So looking at the previous time that it had its earnings, nothing crazy, and it has an up and coming earnings. So I would kind of say like there's no reason, like I would not feel like we're talking about top stocks for this week. And as of right now, with the overall direction selling off just based off recent patterns, there's nothing that's motivating me to take a position on this. It's not increasing in value, so why do I want to take a position on it? There's nothing with the overall direction that it's been like, wow, this is a great deal. Nothing. It's selling off.
Do you ever hold through earnings?
No, I personally don't.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, it doesn't mean that people shouldn't. It's just different factors.
The change is always
not
it's just
control.
not safe for me.
It's hard to control and manage risk during earnings, right? Yeah. And at least right now, because I've seen so much inconsistency within the market, that I want to control as many variables as I can.
Yeah, and you can't.
And I can't do that if I hold something overnight and hope that the earnings before market opens goes according to plan or after the market closes and stuff like that. So, as of right now, I would just set my alerts. There's no indication on why I should take a position on this as of right now. So I would simply follow up with it from there. So here we go. I want to do one last one and break it down to be a good one. So here we go. The Cobras, PBYI. Please be a good one. PBYI. Here we go. I mean, it's a good dip buy opportunity, potentially, right? I mean, it sold off very aggressively, and we hope that it continues, it reverses. And again, yes, I did use that word, we hope, because there's no indication of an uptrend as of right now. So I would set my alert and simply wait for it and kind of see where it goes from there. But looking at previous for the past 2 to 3 months, it's been selling off, and as of right now, low volume. There's just a lot of reasons that I probably wouldn't take a position on this. Looking at previous earnings, it doesn't look like a very good company. This is a bio company, bioscience, biotech, not something that I want to be a part of. You guys know how much I love pharmaceutical companies. I don't trade them. Cannabis, marijuana. I just feel like those companies are ones that easily get manipulated. They tend to be a lot of pump and dumps with them, and a lot of false advertisements. So because of that, I would simply stay away. That's in my experience. Doesn't mean that you have to. Here we go, Matthew. I see you adding little emojis. I like the effort. TQQs. I did talk about this with the Learn Plan Profit Group. It is around that general support area for the SMA line. There's no indication of a reversal just yet, so it's kind of just a waiting game. One of the things that we've talked about so many times, especially if you're part of LPP, is how important it is to not trade against the pattern. Just because we see that, this correlates on over to /NQ, just because we see how oversold it is and we see how overbought SQQQ is, which is the inverse ETF, it doesn't mean that it has to pull back. And it's such a bad thing when you try to trade against the overall direction, try to buy the dip on the stock that's still selling off and hope that it bounces again. If you're trading based off of hope, then you're most likely going to get crushed in this market. Again, confirmation is everything. So, all right, there we go. Here we go. Alrighty. I think, okay, so it looks like, we have a decent amount of people that are still sharing different breakdowns. So I do want to remind you that, let's see. I just want to make sure that, if you guys do have any, we have a lot of people right now posting the different stocks right now in the live chat. If you do want my breakdown, if you're part of TechBit Solutions, which is our free Discord chat, or if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, post it in the group alert section. If you're part of TechBit Solutions, post it in the watch list section and just tag me. That's all you have to do, just tag me. If you're part of our free group, if you're part of LPP, just tag me and I will break it down for you. So that's something that we'll do. Someone kicked you. Is he still commenting?
Who?
John Mason.
Oh, yeah, I'll ban him.
No, I like it. It's hard to pay attention to relevant people.
Yeah, I was going to comment. He's like, people buy LPP to give Ricky money. But
oh my.
you don't struggle, so.
That's hilarious. I can't even imagine, this person behind his computer has absolutely nothing better to do with his life than to just comment on a YouTube video to people doing so much better than him.
He's helping us. Little
view and comment for the boys, the engagement. We're up, we're good. I just don't understand. Mason, I wish you the best in life. I really hope that you can kind of direct that attention to something that can actually benefit maybe yourself, your family, your future family. It's just so sad to see people like yourself have absolutely nothing better to do. Love you too, Mason. Take it easy, bud. But hope you guys had fun during this live stream. I wanted to take this time, and again, I didn't get to see my mother today because she's in California, but hope you guys all get to wish your mothers a happy Mother's Day. None of us got to see our moms.
No.
Someone asked me, how's your
I literally called mom.
And I was like, spent it with the boys.
Yeah, but there's a reason us three are here because everyone else is with their families, and then we're here. So
all of our moms live in a different state. That's what I put. It's like,
yeah.
Your mom lives
Oh,
in
you're
Britain.
the same state. I thought we meant yours. lives
Well,
in
different
Florida.
state from where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Come,
like,
come
whoa,
on,
whoa,
come on,
whoa.
Weston.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, you're the slow one.
Yeah. So, but we've had a blast. I went to the gym for a little bit. Tried to lift, did leg day today, and yeah, definitely not the best. But hey, we tried. So really excited for this up and coming week. Again, I just wanted to thank you guys again so much for your time. You guys know we have a blast when it comes down to just these live streams, breaking out stocks for you guys, engaging with you. I might go live on Instagram later, so if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, I only have one. Please understand that. Like, there's a bunch of fake Instagram accounts, so please ignore all those. My Instagram is linked down below. I'm probably going to go live, say what's up to you guys, and maybe answer any open-ended questions that you guys might have. I do want to remind you that, again, our Mother's Day sale does end tonight, and it's $50 off the Learn Plan Profit course whenever you're ready, if you feel like you're ready. If you want to watch me trade live, if you want to work with me on a closer basis, then again, that's going to be that first link in the description. Just use the little link that says $50 off. And then if you're not ready and you want to just simply join our free trading community, again, that's that second link in the description. We'd love to have you, work with you on a closer basis any way that we can and stay connected. So one of the last things that I wanted to leave you guys with is I don't know if you guys saw last week. I actually want to get a show of hands. How many of you guys enjoyed those videos that I uploaded that were like very short recaps, but they were more kind of like vlogs of my morning routine? They didn't go really into like the night, but I try to change things up with like kind of doing it more in a vlog format. Based on the views, they did okay, but I think that has to do more with the figure that I was trading with. I wanted to ask you, would you rather just have me do my, a live stream and just recap, or was that more entertaining? So it takes a little bit more effort for me because like I don't like filming myself and I don't really like vlogging or editing. But based off of the feedback, it was really good. So you guys just let me know what you guys think. I really hope that I earned your thumbs up in this video. If you guys think that I should continue doing this, then just drop it down in the comment or give me a thumbs up, or just direct message me like, keep the vlogs because your live streams are boring as heck. So you just let me know and then we'll continue going. So it looks like, yeah, it sounds like you guys like the vlog format. So we'll continue with those. But please keep it short, but feel free to direct message me any questions that you might have within the TechBud Solutions or Learn Plan Profit Discord chat. Please do not message me on any other platform for any trading related questions. If you have any trading questions, don't message me on Instagram. Don't message me on Facebook. Just simply message me on Discord. And again, we have the free Discord that's part of TechBud Solutions. You just have to join our free Facebook group first. So we like to keep it pretty simple. Miguel says don't leave. Sorry about that. Again, I do want to remind you that if you guys want to stay up to date with Weston's swing trades as a beginner, then feel free to follow and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Again, his name is Weston Moore. He's hilarious. If you guys think I'm boring or you guys think I'm funny, then you're going to crack up at this guy. And again, he's the top featured channel on my YouTube channel. You could find him on the right-hand side. That shows like, featured. So really do appreciate you guys' time. I know I just repeated myself. Really do appreciate your guys' time. Hope you guys have an amazing and blessed Sunday. Really looking forward to this week. Let's make sure that our effort and attention is put in the right direction and that, we plan out and work towards a good and successful week. So watching natural gas right now, I'm going to be watching /NQ/CL and kind of see where it goes. I'm going to most likely be trading, live. I'm going to be trading live at market open, but I'll probably be trading at pre-market hours around 4 a.m. my time, which is about 2.5 hours after the market opens. So
Before the market opens.
what did I say?
You said after the market.
2.5 hours before the market opens. Holy, I'm all pre-market.
Pre-before?
Pre-market for the boys. Appreciate you guys' time. Like always, continue working hard, continue following your dreams. Let your passion be a drive to success. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.